Good evening, and welcome to the February 8th, 2023 work session of the Warrensville Heights City School District Board of Education. If we can please rise, I'm sorry, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll? I'm rushing.
Mr.
No,
Here. Mrs. Gator.
Here.
Mrs. Moomin.
Here.
Mr. Roberts.
Here.
Ms. Mitchell.
Here. Now, if we can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I know.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Righty. Next on the agenda is item 1.3, and we do have to make an addition to tonight's agenda before we approve it. We're going to add section 1.5, and we need to go into executive session to discuss the potential exchange of real property with the city of Warrensville Heights. So if everybody is okay with that, we're going to add that to section 1.5 on tonight's agenda.
Okay, so everyone, I take it's not going to take long.
It shouldn't take long. Okay. No. So may I? All right. Then with that change, if I can please have a motion to make the appropriate change to the agenda and approve tonight's agenda.
Madam Chair, I'd like to add to tonight's agenda 1.5, going into executive session for the reasons that you already discussed.
Thank you. May I have a second? A second. Thank you. Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator.
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Moomin.
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. All right. Next on our agenda, we're going to do a board report. It's going to be Mr. Jolly and myself giving an update on the Warrensville Heights High School final rule. So the committee has been working, David has been working with us on the committee to plan a full weekend of events for that Memorial Day weekend. The flyer's coming. Many of you have probably already seen it on social media. We have an open house planned for Thursday, May 25th from 5 to 8 p.m. We've got our old school versus new school basketball tournament from 6 to 9 p.m. And it's going to be 2 alumni matches, and it's going to be Warrensville versus some of our greatest rivals. And through the years, we know we've had some great rivals, and so those teams are to be announced. Saturday, May 27th, we're going to have an open house from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We are going to have our last dance at WHHS from 6 p.m. to midnight. We've got live music, we've got alumni performances, and we've got DJs for 3 different experiences in one night so that we cover all of the generations that have passed through the halls of Warrensville Heights High School. On Sunday, May 28th, we've got an all-class reunion cookout from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's going to take place at the elementary school parking lot. That should be a lot of fun because every graduating class has been invited to set up a tent, and we can decorate it up. And are we still going to do that competition, Mr. Jolly? Mm-hmm. And so there's going to be a competition to see which class has the best decor. And the class of 81, we're just going to put it out there. We're already working on ours, so y'all better come well. Right.
Second place.
Monday, May 29th, we're going to have our annual Memorial Day Parade where we walk with our band and our scholars in the parade, and the alumni of WHHS are going to be invited to walk with us as well. So there will be more information to come as we get closer to that date. So that is what we've got. I do know ticket sales have opened up, and we have tickets for each of the experiences, or you can buy one package for the entire weekend.
$30.
Here we go.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
All righty then.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we pay for it? You can afford that.
It's online. It's an online link. It's an online link where you buy tickets for the basketball games. It's on that link.
and it's been pushed by Facebook. It's been pushed via I can't talk tonight. Instagram. I don't know if it's on Twitter. It's on Twitter. Thank you, David. And I believe it's on the district website as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just for any alumni that are listening, we are forming a subcommittee for communications, and we're trying to get a good representation for the various classes. I know 1981 is represented, but we're trying to make sure we are getting out to all of our alumni from the 60s, the 70s, through the 80s, 19s, and the 2000s. So please reach out to the district if you would like to serve on the communication subcommittee as a representative of your class. And that's our report. Anything else, Mr. Jolly?
We have identified the team we will be playing against Shaw High School. So it'll be Shaw High School.
Okay. So that's going to be a good game.
Superintendent Jolly, is that open to all alumni basketball players, or is that open?
Yeah, it's open to alumni basketball players. You have to at least play 1 year of varsity basketball.
Okay.
Coach Swift is selecting the young team, so it's a team. If you were graduated after 1997, that's one game. So Coach Swift will be selecting that team or gathering guys for that team, and then anybody older than 1997, Curtis Bloxton will be gathering that team together.
Thank you.
And then Shaw High is doing the same.
That ought to be a lot of fun.
We're hoping. We've had a good time planning it.
I know that David has worked hard.
David's worked hard.
On getting alumni bands that's going to play in the auditorium on that night. It's going to be alumni DJs that night. So, what else, David? Anything else in particular? All right. Nice.
So, David, I do have one question. How are the folks that were in gospel choir that came up, how are they being notified? Is there something online? I was going to say, is Miss Winston involved? Right. That's what I want to know. Right. That's what I want to know, because there's more of us. I was marching band, high stepper. We were gospel choir, my sister. So that's what I'm asking. How is everybody finding? So we can talk about it in our next meeting. Okay. Okay. So for those that are listening online, we did ask David, who was on the committee with us, David Bruce, how those alumni who have participated in the band, the high steppers, other performing arts, our gospel choirs through the years, how they will be able to participate in the alumni organizations. And there will be more information forthcoming on the Warrensville Heights City School District website. So stay tuned. More to come. We are hoping for a huge turnout, lots of fun, and we're just looking forward to really putting the high school to rest in a big way.
Sounds like you guys are doing really well.
Yep, it's going to be an exciting event.
Yep. All righty, thanks, guys. Next on the agenda, I'm sorry, we're going to need a motion on the floor to go into executive session to discuss the potential exchange of real property with the city of Warrensville Heights.
Madam Chair, I move that we go into executive session to discuss the exchange of real property pursuant to section blah blah blah.
Thank you. May I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. It's been moved and probably seconded. We will not be in executive session long, so we're asking those of you who are viewing the meeting online, please hang in with us. We should be back shortly. Thank you. Oh, Dr. Roch, you got to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. We will be back.
You seen that? Look, it was frozen. I didn't look at the tip.
That was funny.
Yeah, it started coming out. Need a pen and you got
Understood.
Got it. All right. Can we please have a motion to return to our agenda?
Madam Chair.
You can just rewind.
You
can resume.
I was gonna say I was
gonna say we did that back there. We are going to resume our meeting, and at this time, we would ask for updates from on our Westwood project. Facilities update.
Brief update about that. As we just discussed, that there's a motion tonight for the transfer of Westwood property to the city of Warrensville in exchange for another property.
And Dr. Rock, Mr. Jolly, did we have any public participation submissions online?
No, we had none.
Okay. Well, then we're going to move right along to item 2.3, and we're going to invite Doug Meyer to come up as he represents Infinity and provide us with a facility update on the high school and middle school project.
Oh, hold on. No, he got it. I just want to make sure he got the presentation.
Long time no see.
Happy New Year. I guess we can still say Happy New Year.
I see you all the time.
Good to see you.
Questions, feel free to ask.
Just jump in.
You're going to go ahead and give it off, please. And basically, let you know where we are on the schedule, in coordination with the schedule. Let you know where we are on the funding and preparing the funding for our projected spend. We'll talk a little bit about the construction schedule of what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay. If we get started. Go ahead. So with the schedule, this is stressful. It's going to be stressful, and we know with COVID and everything else, construction has changed. This team has worked through the issues. They're going to continue to work through the issues. We'll talk about some of those. I'm sure you that we have our office on it, and we have the stage working on it, and we all meet bi-weekly to go over the project as a core team. Daily, every other day, I'm involved with issues. The district is very active and doing everything that they can to keep the project moving forward. What we have done is, so I put this plan together just kind of as an overview of Northfield and Warrensville, what the overall segments. We're in the point now where we've done the demolition. Middle school, obviously, got the high school and middle school under construction. So we're going to start talking about demolition. This high school. We have GMP for the athletic complex. We're going to start talking about how this is all going to be together. So Sean and I are going to start talking probably about this better updates as we get closer. But I wanted to have this get more. Go ahead, please. So with the construction schedule, I'm going to talk about it where we have the overall building completion. Okay, we're also going to talk about the overall site completion, and then we're going to talk about the abstract completion. So as we're working as a team, all of these are being managed together, but we just want to just kind of bring in some 10,000, talk about what are the big milestones that we're working towards, how the construction is going. So we have substantial completion, and the project is being built kind of A, B, C. So we're moving the trains around, we're moving through, and we're going to be finished with the project in 6 months. So when we see substantial completion tonight, what that means is it's going to be far enough where it's going to look complete, the systems are going to be up and running, we're going to be ready to be furnished. Okay? That doesn't mean that everything is perfect. Okay? We still have punch list, we have commission, we have owner training, this is going to happen. But we know that it's going to take time to move into the building this large. And so we're going to open up the building as it's available with construction, and we'll still have issues. We don't want to have 1 or 2 issues that might be holding up the completion of one item, hold up the whole project. Okay? So we will manage to do that. But we're looking at May 3rd for completing substantial completion of the ABN. And then we're going to be ready to start installing the furniture vendor. They're ready. They're going to be coming in May 6th installing furniture. Last day of school is the 25th. We're going to have substantial completion for the C and the auditorium on June 14th. And then we're going to get into all the punch lists, the commission, the owner training. That's going to happen pretty much from May all the way to August. And we're going to get that completed before we start. Okay. So we're working regularly to coordinate all of that. We're going to have the complete move in September 1st, and then it starts on September 10th. All right, you can go to the next slide, please. So the overall completion of this site. So we talked about the school. Now we have to talk about the demolition of the high school. Okay, so this is going to overlay. We have the loop around the high school. So we're going to have the north line. District will have that. We're working with East Valley to go ahead and coordinate. So we have communication to keep the construction and the schools separate, safe. So you can imagine we're probably going to build a fence around the front of the building. Okay, so it's completely separate. Construction's going to have their own access. The district's going to have their own access. So we're putting together the bid documents for the demolition. But we're going to start the demolition. We bait it first, then we coming. So we're looking at starting that, and then the demolition we're hoping to have complete on. We'll see the building will be down, but we'll still get a lot of site action. Okay. Some of the friction points that we had is we had the existing science queen. So the science queen that is supposed to be building down, or we can actually do the construction to put the new entrance on the school. So we're working through all of those details. Okay. But this is what I was saying. We're going to have some friction as the end forward. We're looking to have the entrance and the parking complete November, and the actual contract completion for the GMP for the high school, middle school complete November 28th. And then the last big piece that we'll have is the demolition part. We're kind of using that as a placeholder right now. Okay. Next slide, please. So then when we get into the athletic complex, so this is all happening already. We have all of our game fees in place, the energy work with their suppliers, their trades. Well, we're going to actually start a new summer. By March, we're going to be putting the fire lane in, doing earthworks, the stadium, and then I kind of added some detail of what we're going to do to progress so that we can get to the stadium occupancy in August 4th. We have as track is installed with Apple, we have a certain amount of time where we have to wait to actually put the track surface on all the warranties and everything. Track surface is follow a little bit. We'll try to keep that over those. If I have questions on this. It's a lot of information. Go ahead, please. So the overall project funding, sorry, I don't know what it is. The big picture is back to rock. Had some updates and interest. Beyond that, $1.4 million funded for the total program. So as we're working on this, we're anticipating costs that are coming up. We're looking at the projects that we have finished in high school we're not doing. We're trying to meet all the needs that the district wants. We're managing costs that we don't know exactly what they're going to be, but we want to make sure there's money there so that we can make the appropriate decisions. So we have the $8.14 million that we have funded. Next slide, please. So then if you go to what our projected spend on, is our best right now, 8.9. Okay, so it gives us a surplus of about half. Now, included in those numbers are the contingencies that you have in the project. Okay, so let's say we're 500 a long way to go. Any board knows, unforeseen things come in. For us to get done, we have to be able to get quick decisions and move through it. So this is the highest level so you can understand. We finished today. Next slide, please. So we talked about the contingencies. We have the co-funding, and then we have we're managing the change orders that we have, pending change orders, so we're sort of forecasting ahead. Right now, we see that we have 150,000 projects today. We had to spend all of our pending. See, we have 157,000 of remaining co-funded. Next slide, please. Then with the LFI contingency, we see that 300. So I will make decisions and we're managing the project. We have money available. We know there's going to be more things coming out. We know the district wants to have definitely. Okay, so this is all pretty good news. Okay. Any questions?
One. And you may have already explained it. The added $5 million. What is that added $5 million?
So that was when we initially went out for the athletic complex. Bids for inflation and everything. Bids came in so high.
Oh, okay.
The project, the board approved additional costs. That's what we had originally had.
Mrs. Moomin, that's our latest financing that we did, where we got $9.5 million for the early childhood center, and we got an extra $5 million for phase 2.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Next slide, please. So the remaining work that we have in the high school, right now we have an estimate of $936,000. That includes the soft costs for John Dewey. We actually were holding, know that those demolition costs are coming in high, so we can actually hold some allowance, anticipating those costs are high. And those are the next big things that we have. Go ahead, please. So we do have critical issues. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail. I don't want to scare anybody, but I'm going to show you the factors. There's still, as I mentioned, we're going to have some coordination with the demolition of the loading dock, the demolition of the school, so get all that work done. So safely get all the students out, get occupancy. So we're going to be working with all those, with the city and everything. But the team's communicating really well. They're squaring up. Next slide, please. I'm going to just skip through the actual schedule because I think you'll be able to see these. I know it's of the essence. I think the pictures will probably show you better. Right? Can you go ahead, please? And another one. So some of these pictures we actually got multi-vista. If anyone ever gets the chance to get on that, we can share it with you. But it's the professional group that come to, they take photographs, but they take the same photograph at the same location, so you can see the actual progression. And it's perfect for projects. So if you ever have an issue, go back and see them. So some of these are a little dark, I apologize. But this shows you kind of the status of the community entrance, the high school entrance, inside the butterfly booth, and then of course the north line, which is we're almost completely closed. The butterfly booth, if you get some more details, there's some more coordination on that. Anticipated, but doing the right thing, closure and pressing the right way. So that one is still going to continue on. So even as we get into the spring, we're going to be putting metal panels on and have materials that it's all. Okay. Next slide, please. So this is see the one on the top that's kind of the loading dock looking towards the east, but really this last really didn't have the enclosure of the school. So you can see the enclosure of the middle school, the entrance. You can see on the bottom part that is actually the student dining with all of the curtain wall, and then the classroom part next to it. So it's good for the school. Next slide, please. This just kind of shows you where we're at with technology. We did mock up the technology for one of the classrooms, so we can go through on how it all works. Each classroom has cabinet technology in there. This kind of shows we have this smart display board in the classroom. Next, update on science classroom. So as we move through the building, we're starting with floor finishes in, get the first coat of paint in, moving the ceilings, all the above ceiling inspection work is taking place. We have our conditioning, our engineers going through, double check all that works, we're fixing everything, that multiple eyes are in to try to move up the picture. Media center is on the right, so you can see how that's coming together. We finally got the scaffolding down. Those lights that we have in the media center, you're going to see those also in the student activities. So it's very dramatic. And then you can also see we're starting to see them up. Next picture, please. We're just getting our ceilings up in the middle areas. So these are really coming together, all of the walls and installation, moving on nicely in there, and you can see the color there. We actually have the hoods coming in, so we tie those in, continue finishes over there. They're starting to steel on the walls, stuff up a couple months before the equipment actually comes up. This is the auditorium. So it's coming together, those diagonal things, kind of waiting on those reveals that we're going to have in the drywall. So it'll be very interesting. But they're working towards that. Did have an issue that'll probably become meeting, a coordination issue, a fire separation issue. So a large chamber that we come to, they asked to do a little bit with the stage. Next slide, please. The arena, the floor is starting to go in. Very exciting. Next slide. The middle school, you've already seen activity with that chip floor is in. They have cleaned it up. I think that's all.
Thank you, Doug.
Real quick. In the very beginning, you said that you guys were working through the issues. Just can you highlight real quick what were some of those issues that you?
Yeah. So the one issue we have on PFPs basically is very important for the mechanical system. There's a chip.
Okay.
We had ordered over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot turn on the building system, so we had that chip, and we were waiting, and finally we were able to find out what's the alternative plan here. No, we was able to actually get one from another project that we have where you want to get to install that, so we continue to go through the system.
Okay.
Okay. A lot of the butterfly roof, we didn't quite have enough detail. There's a coordination issue, the constructability of that, working through that. That's taking some more time, some more coordination. We can only speak to the details, and we're working on that. So, some of the lead times, low five weeks. We were going to originally have 3 ceilings in these different learning areas. There's a huge lead time on it. We actually got engineered the project, saved a lot of money, and we're waiting on something. Mm-hmm. So we were able to talk to the design architect, and they were okay to just change it to a white ceiling. It's still going to be beautiful, and it's so whenever we see that something starts to slow down, this is really critical. We know that the existing science room that was existing, and we've done some demolition. So whenever you deal with the renovation, we're going to have some surprises. So we're working with the team now, so we can talk about what suggestions are, so we can bring to the district, so we can decide. Have a project, so we can change or address how is this acceptable or not. Preschool is an example. OSPM with the state required a certain level. Well, this was built 20 years ago, it didn't happen. So we still have a wall before the ceiling now. We're doing good work above to replace the ceiling. OSPM says we need to do a lot of this. Was it good for the district before? Something to spend the money on, but we don't have to. So we'll ask all those questions.
Okay. So it sounds like the issues you're actually working through them as you run into that brick wall. Okay. Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions, board?
Thanks, Deb.
All right. Well, thank you so very much, and thank you for providing us with the detailed information. Have a good one. Thank you. All right, next on our agenda is item 2.4. We'll have Mr. Lonnie Coleman come and provide us with an update on the Early Childhood Development Center. Thank you.
President, Superintendent, members of the High School Board. My name is Richard Johnson. I'm the project manager for Omicron Corporation. We did not bring a PowerPoint presentation. Mm-hmm. It's good to know that we have similar problems that Infinity has also. Project, I'm here to report on the Early Childhood Preschool Project. Program on Bible Church. We're approximately 25.6% complete the entire project. Unlike, not unlike the high school project, we are working with some project. We're confident that lead times and variable frequency issues. We have EAP variable volume control problems also. And we're working through those issues also. I can tell you that we have come up with a plan that just presented to the district during the negotiation stages that the rooftop units that we are installing are probably about a 28-week lead time, which puts us in end of August. Okay, so we've come up with a plan to use the existing on a temporary basis until such time that the units are come.
No, it's good. I was trying to get David behind you.
So we have a plan in place to use the existing system. Our project is scheduled to complete June 8th. That's what we plan to turn it over to you guys, and that is our intent. I can tell you that we are at this point 3 weeks behind schedule. And again, in a renovation project, we run into some unforeseen conditions. I can give you 2 examples. When we were installing the underground plumbing, we ran into some big slab that we had to go through. So we had to dig out structurally is located at that big slab, run our underground piping through that. We got that okay with the structural engineers. One of the other things about ceilings, we noticed that there's a wall where we have to put in some doors, new openings. This particular CMU concrete wall is a bearing wall, so you can't just go on that wall. So we had to get that redesigned. Structural engineers get a plan to put a beam in there and do that structural stuff. So in the interim, what we've done is we initially scheduled this project to do the first floor first and go to the second floor. But when we ran into these problems, what we did is we went to the second floor and started working on the second floor while we were addressing the first floor issues. And so we've gone as far as we can go with the second floor. We're down to the first floor. Tomorrow we will have those stud walls installed on the second floor. We have the MEP in-wall, mechanical, and electrical, plumbing, rough-ins installed inside the wall on the second floor. Tomorrow, the building, so he'll be on site tomorrow to sign off on rough. Once he signs off Monday, we'll start making drive. We'll go smart. Our team has got together and tried to come up with some solutions to gain that business back. And so we're kicking some things around, looking at the schedule, and we plan to meet with our subcontractors in the very near future to see some of the ideas that we came up with. Maybe painting before we put the ceiling, the grid up. We can't put the grid up until we get approval on the VAP process, and that's a 7 to 8 week lead time, which has been submitted but rejected, and we in fact just will resubmit those next. So these are some of the challenges that we're facing and working through. I did want to tell Mr. Myers we could do some of that surplus money. Any questions?
Any questions for it?
Right now, you stand within the budget, correct?
Oh yeah, right now we're in the budget. We have a contingency. We have contingency dollars.
Okay.
But as you know, we have a lot of them. We haven't got all the prices yet for some of the.
So you're saying you're 3 weeks behind schedule. So are we supposed to be able to get into the school by June 8th? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's our goal.
That's your goal.
That's our goal. We're working to try to make sure that we we meet that goal.
Okay.
May I have just one quick question? I'm sorry, were you done?
Yes.
So early on, you mentioned that there was a 28-week lead time on something. Did you say you do have a plan to reduce that, or are you working on it?
No,
still?
we did not reduce that. We have the same problem with chips as
Oh, okay.
this chip problem. I mean,
It's a big problem.
Yeah. And I guess it's whatever material goes into these chips. Well, how do they make these chips? That's just a problem. But we, the building has a system hooked up here down here.
Okay.
We can tie into the system up here, scheduled to replace them.
So this deals with the rooftop units that
Yeah.
you're referring to. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else?
My only question is, what frequency will we be kept abreast of what's happening with the progress with getting that building open and ready for occupancy by June 8th?
How often should we be working for? I mean, we meet with the superintendent Dolly where we now it's every 2 weeks.
Okay.
We meet every week. And I guess we can come, I mean, at your convenience. You want us to come once a month, we can come and address the board.
I think understanding that we were given one day, we do understand that, things happen. It is a renovation. So I think we probably will be best served to have a monthly update, and we'll have you work with Mr. Jolly to make sure you're on probably our regular meeting agenda. Okay.
This is at the fourth Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay. I do want to add that this presentation is for our base bid contract. There's a possibility where there may be more in addition, and that has not been decided yet. And I don't know what your expectations are for the addition.
So we haven't brought that to the board yet. We're still going through that, and when we're ready, we'll bring it to the board for approval.
Okay. Because again, that hasn't been designed, sit out, that whole process.
Okay. I think our expectation right now is to understand what that true timeline is going to be completing the academic portion of that building. And we've made commitments to our community, and we've got to have space for our scholars to be in school.
And in my job meeting 2 weeks ago, I emphasized that to our contractors. In fact, there's a marquee sign out front. It says clearly.
Yes, it does.
Fall 2020.
That's right.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Madam Chair, also the cost. I know you mentioned, making sure that we open, but making sure that we stay open.
Oh yeah, we have to stay on call. To me, that's implicit. I mean, we understand there's going to be challenges, but that's what the contingencies are for.
And if there's any foresee that we take, notify them, and certainly will notify Dr. Jolly.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for coming. All righty.
Diversity.
Next on the agenda is item 2.5. We have the diversity report update, and Mr. Jolly and Dr. Rock did provide this to us. Mr. Jolly, did you want to walk us through it, or just something for us to?
Yeah, actually, I would like you to review it. I'd like to get the latest one.
Okay.
We have not received the latest one yet. This is from last year. So I would like to get the latest one, and maybe at our next meeting I can go through it.
Oh, okay.
Then what we're going to do, we'll table this to the next meeting.
I requested the latest one. This goes to November, so this does not have December or January in it.
Okay.
And we need both of those.
All righty.
All right.
But that's the most current one that they
Yeah,
get.
that's what most current one we got. So.
All right. Next on our agenda is items 3.1 and 3.2 and 3.3. So I do need a motion on the floor to approve. Do we have to do 3.1 separately, Dr. Rock?
We should.
I'm not sure. Jason, would you recommend that we do the real estate as a separate vote?
Yeah, I didn't think so.
There's no
It can be
specifics?
consent.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I need a excuse me, a motion on the floor to approve by consent agenda the superintendent sessions topics, which are item 3.1, exchange of real property, item 3.2, employment of an educator, and item 3.3, renaming of the recreation center to the Fanny Dean Recreation Center. So if I can have a motion, and then we'll get it seconded, and then we'll open the floor for discussion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move item number 3 on tonight's agenda, the superintendent's session topics. We're looking for their items 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3.
Thank you, sir. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, ma'am. The floor is open for discussion.
Yes, I'd like to talk about 3.1. Again, this is the resolution for the land swap. 3.2 is the hiring of the instructor. Can you hit 3.2 for me? On your agenda, it doesn't have her name, but her name is Sandy Patterson. Sandy Patterson is a retired educator. She did work with the program last year and is a Warrensville resident. So Sandy Patterson will be working that program. And then 3.3, I appreciate if the board could consider naming the rec center after Miss Fanny Dean, who recently departed. Miss Dean was the pillar of our community. The reason we do have a naming committee. The naming committee did meet yesterday. Miss Gator is part of the naming committee. Mr. Roberts is part of the naming committee. Karen House from the city is part of the naming committee. Part of the naming committee. We had a very robust conversation yesterday in the committee about this recommendation. This recommendation is coming with the approval of the committee, which everyone voted to bring it to the board today. Based upon Mrs. Dean's service to the district over 48 years, her time spent in the recreation center as the person who's opened the recreation center since it's been open in 2001, I believe. 6 days a week, all of her activity with our rec programs, all our activity with our athletic programs. This recommendation becomes highly with high regard. The district, and in our conversation, the district hasn't named any building or any edifice after anybody. But with all due respect, the committee felt that this was one that we wanted to bring at this time. Any other committee members would like to add anything at this time?
I just want to reiterate what Mr. Jolly said. Everyone, the people in this community are well aware of Ms. Dean and her contributions to the district, to the rec center, specifically to the athletic program. And we just wanted to take this opportunity to bestow this honor upon her by naming this recreation center that she is so associated and identified with in her honor. Like I said, that was the topic of yesterday's meeting, and we did want to take the action to bring this to the board for a vote of the entire board to consider this proposal.
And this is a school system that truly love Miss Dean. I remember when I first came to Warrensville to start teaching, and she was just a heart and soul. I mean, you didn't go anywhere without knowing who Miss Dean was. And I mean, my son, my daughter, I mean, I had to call and tell her the bad news at work, and it's just heartbreaking, and I know we all have to travel that road, but it's hard. Miss Dean gonna be missed greatly by a complete community. It's not just the scholars, it's all of us. And all I can say is rest in peace, Miss Dean. You did a job well done.
Yes.
Anybody?
If there's no further questions or comments, I think Ms. Barber, you wrapped it up, and there's nothing to say behind that. It's a hard time in Warrensville right now, but we will push through. If there's no further discussion, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. All right. I'm going to ask for a quick pause so we can get a document signed and notarized. We'll be right back. I didn't get it. You didn't do what? We all right. I only got 2 pages.
Oh, shit. We good.
We good though.
Oh, we good.
I think for some reason, I think I have an extra one. Nope, I don't. It's
Oh.
2 pages.
I'll be all right.
I'm fine. Earl shared it.
Good night, Jason.
night.
Thank you.
Take care of this.
Thank you for allowing me to pause. All righty. Thank you guys for allowing the business to happen the way it did in the board meeting. We are now going to move into the board projects that we'll discuss as part of our work session. I know at our executive organizational meeting in January, we established our board committees. I gotta get myself together here. And there was some discussion about those board committees. And I wanted to come back to that since there was questions and concerns, and there was requests to have more discussion. So there are a couple of packets of information that I left in you all's work areas for tonight. The board committees that we approved for 2023: budget, finance, policy, facilities, curriculum review, and community engagement. As we talked about those, there were some questions asked about what is a board committee, what is not a board committee, and through that discussion and through research, the board does set what committees are committees, with the exception of budget and finance and policies. We agreed to keep facilities as a board committee, as well as a curriculum review, and then the community engagement will stay as a board committee. However, based on whatever community engagement project is at hand, any of the board members can be a part of any respective committee. For example, I'm the board member that's been participating on the last ROAR, and I know last year Vice President Roberts participated on another committee. So one of the things that we did want to talk about, because we've gotten away from, is defining our updates, our norms for the updates, talking through the purpose of what our committees are, what our expectations of our board members for those committees. And then one of the things that was asked at our organizational meeting is, should we or can we schedule our budget/finance committee meetings as we've done in past years? And then also better understanding which community members are part of that budget/finance committee. So in our one packet, I provided some information from OSBA. I provided our policies that specifically speaks to committees. And then there's a document from OSBA about board committee reminders based on ORC 121.22. And then there is another document that's a handout from OSBA about board committees. So at this point in time, I'd like to open the floor up for conversation, so that members that had questions, concerns, as we talked about this during our organizational meeting, can bring them up now.
So that would be me.
Yes.
I was the one that brought up the concern. I think the biggest thing for me was just making sure that we establish, and it's in one of these pages that you gave us, but we establish what do we want to, what's the purpose of the committee? What's the goal? How often are we going to meet? Just maybe come up with our own established protocols on what the committees are going to look like. I was thinking this is even something that could be added to our handbook, so that we don't have to worry about, if there's a change with the president next year or the year after, is all of this going to change? We've already established what that's going to look like.
So I have a question, and I know that's a question to a question, but I'm going to ask this anyway. Beyond budget and finance, we don't have control over policy. For us, we're a Neola organization unless we decide that we're going to write new policy. So as policy updates are given, I personally can't say what the normal cadence is for those updates by Neola, because a lot of those are driven by changes in the Ohio Revised Code.
True. However, we could still establish what our expectation of, say, for instance, when those policies are going to get to us. Are we current with the policies now, Mr. Jelly?
I believe so. I have to check.
I'm thinking we've got
Might be one in the hall. I know.
Yeah.
So
that might be about the only thing that we could do, based on the way that we do it. I know in the past it's been a lot more formal, I guess, with board members sitting at the table with the superintendent and his team, going over the policies. But I believe Mr. Jolly has a different format that's used, where they just kind of send out the policies, and I think it's a great format that they're using. They send out the policy revisions, and then that's ultimately what comes to us. It goes to the different departments. I think that's about the only thing we could change, is maybe just making it more formal as to what our expectation is
regarding the timing of when they get
when they're going to come to us, because the revisions are almost always done at the same time. I want to say like in January.
Okay, that's what I was asking, because I don't know.
Yeah,
is it twice a year, 3 times a year?
And it ends up, I'm showing my computer, but it ends up under policies. You'll see, the revisions and what needs to be done, and it gives you all of the breakdown.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's typically twice a year. Then, Mr. Jolly, how long does it take you and your team to go through?
I would say about 2 weeks. So if we give them about a week to complete it, send it back, and then we send it to you guys.
So if our norm would be, just say it's August 1st, you guys get the new volumes to review. 2 weeks into that, your team goes through, and by the 3rd week of the month following your receipt of those, we would have them.
You have them.
Is everybody okay with that? 3 weeks after they get it, we would get it.
One of the things, though, and I talked to Dr. Rock about this today, is that we're going to have to cross-train a lot more executive assistants, because when one goes out, it makes it very difficult, and then especially for me, when my executive assistant is not is out, I have to pick up a lot of slack on my own. So we'll make the necessary adjustments today, and we're gonna cross-train some people in policy, because I know Miss Lockett is the only person who really knows how to do policy, and due to unforeseen situations, if she's not available, it does put us in a bad situation. So we'll start to cross-train more people and learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what's tough for you, Mr. Jolly, because you only have one person.
Right.
So
Excellent.
treasurer's office, we're going to reach out and try to be cross training, and Mr. Jolly and I have a plan for to make sure that we have some redundancy, so we have so people can pick up.
Awesome, thank you. So I guess then my next question after that is, if you guys review 2 weeks, we get into the third week, how soon should we be ready to review and begin discussions for the first and second reading?
So the first work session, the next work session should be ready for the first reading. Then that'll be the first reading, and then the second session you should be able to vote.
Doesn't matter whether we do it like the first one for a work session.
Yeah, just it'll be whatever the next meeting is. We should be able to have it in that cycle.
Do you guys review the special updates, the special releases that come in as well?
Yeah, everything that come in, we review.
Okay.
I have to get updated. So tomorrow that'll be part of my day, seeing exactly where we are.
So does that work for everybody?
So, Mr. Jolly, so any changes that come through that is what you bring to our attention, correct?
Yes. So some changes are mandatory. They're just not law. We don't have any say in them. This is the law.
Right.
Oftentimes, but our current policy we try to maintain unless it's changed by law. So unless there's some glaring weakness in the policy that we might change, because they give you choices on what you're gonna pick. So it's not like we adding
So
stuff
those are
to
the
it.
things that we would be discussing.
Yeah, we discuss if it's a change or something. Because most of the time we go with what we're doing already.
Right.
And then when there is changes, the changes are mostly made by the new change in the law. That makes sense.
All right. Thank you.
Madam Chair, so based on what you just said, so like January is already out. There was a new update that was done in January. Now I don't know if the exact date. All I know is it was in January. So would it make more sense to give them, the month of January to review the release, and we know that maybe later in February? I don't know.
I think for right now, we cannot ask them to jump right now and follow the protocol. So whatever cadence they're on, just let them follow through with where they are with January and follow what we've been doing to get it. And then beginning in the August release, then we would begin what we just discussed today. Because to your point, it's not fair to ask them to turn around quickly and get whatever that release is back to us.
But I guess my point was, it's a January release, and we're trying to say within 2 weeks or within 3 weeks. I don't know if that release came the first week of January or the last week of January.
But that's what I'm saying. We're going to let the January release, no matter when it came, whenever it came, we'll let them go through their process. We won't ask them to put the timelines in that we just discussed.
So the same thing is going to happen in August. We don't know if it's going to be the first week.
I just picked a date that time. I just picked a date to say for giggles and kicks. It could be August 1st. Whenever it comes, it could come August 30th. If it comes August 30th, then they would have 2 weeks to do their work. They would get it to us in week number 3, and then whatever that timeline is, if that puts us at an October work session for us to do the first reading and an October regular meeting to do the second reading, it's just gonna fall with whatever.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just gonna fall whatever. When they get it, then it kicks in the timeline. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, first reading, second reading, because we can't predicate when Neola's gonna do the updates. So yeah,
and then there may not be any changes. There may not be any updates. So.
No, Barbara, there's
So
always updates.
Yeah, it might be always updates, but Mr. Jolly's always on top of it. So
Hold on, Miss Barbara. Are you irritated right now?
probably.
Because I'm not trying to make anybody irritated. I mean, I'm just
Okay,
trying to,
well, your point is well taken.
Madam Chair, I do have a question, and this brings Dr. Rock. I mean, I've actually done it. Mimi's done it. Dr. Rock, do we need to see administration policies or no? We don't need
Are you referring to the guidelines?
Yeah.
We've never gotten the guidelines. We started it. I can answer that question.
No,
We
I'm just
started
asking
the
Dr.
guidelines.
Rock though. I'm asking Dr. Rock, do we need to see them? I mean, I've done them before, and we were behind in 2015. We were way behind.
If there's ones that need to be board approved.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
No, administrative guidelines we have not been doing. So I mean, I'm not advocating for putting those back out there. That's
No, I was just asking him a question. I was asking a question. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. So according to OSBA, the board committees are curriculum instruction, which we said, negotiations, which we've never had as a board committee, finance, policy, facilities, ground, and transportation, which we do have as board committees. And then for us, our ad hoc committee has been the community engagement, for lack of a better term. So we don't really have any other board committees. I think the only other thing that I would ask for us to discuss tonight, curriculum review. When we do have curriculum review and Ms. Barbara participates, the administrators and the educators come in and provide those reports and those updates, because they're best served to give that updated information and to answer questions that we're going to have.
Right.
That's my opinion. I know facilities, we have been pretty good with our construction teams providing us with their updates. And as we just asked in the meeting tonight, because we're so close to the end of both projects, if they come in every month, we will be well aware of what's going on. Facilities. With facilities.
Right.
The board members and Madam Chair, excuse me, they have a summary. You guys get a summary. I know Tracy sat in on many of them, but you get a summary of our.
We get a summary.
We get a summary
for the facilities.
From Dr. Rock.
No, you
From
get it
on the
from
facilities.
Infinity, Brett.
For the facility?
You get them from Infinity.
Oh, okay.
But what we discussed along with it, are they still sending? I've seen the last one, Jelly, in January. Superintendent.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, remember they sent them out.
What's that?
Our summary.
The summary.
That meeting, like
Yeah.
the meeting today, will be out by Friday.
Yeah, they sent out the summer. I just forwarded them. I just forwarded them.
So we do get a summary
Right.
I was forwarding them when I get them.
from them.
Right.
But with us being at the end of our projects, they will be here. And then, Mr. Jolly, I'll leave it to you if it's the work session they come to or if it's the regular.
I think the work session is good.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on your board, but I think the work sessions are.
Because it gives us more
Right.
Give them
opportunity.
time to make the talk.
Right.
Go
Tonight was an anomaly because we had the other stuff with Westwood. We had to kind of move them. But I think we're now at the crunch time where there will be other things that we're going to have to really delve into. And then again, it might not be. We might, the supply chain issue may miraculously clear up. It would be nice. It would be nice. So if they come once a month to our work sessions, I think we should be fine with that as an update. And again, my opinion, but the people doing the work are better served to provide the updates for something like that because it's more technical.
So can we go back to curriculum for a minute? Are we doing a change of curriculum?
I don't believe so. I don't believe we're changing any curriculum. We are. I'll let you know, but
Right.
I don't believe so.
If we are, what's her name? Roxanne. Is that her name?
Roxanne.
Yeah, Roxanne would notify me, and the teacher, they will meet, and she would invite me to the meeting
Yeah, they have
to explain. But they haven't did that this year.
It might be a math curriculum
Right.
adoption coming for high school
Right.
because they piloted one this year. So we'll see if they will.
So my ask is if there are committee meetings that it's shared with the rest of the board. I mean, at least let us know, hey, I was
Right.
invited to this, curriculum meeting. We're going to be looking at new textbooks for pre-K.
Okay.
Something to just kind of keep the board in the loop on that this is something that's going to be coming down the pipe.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll do that.
And so on our regular board meetings, we will have a section. We
Yeah,
asked
I
Ms.
have a
Lockett to put it back on the regular agenda to say board updates. And at that point, if anybody has had a committee meeting, please make sure Mr. Jolly, Dr. Rock, and I have it so we can put it on there, list what the committee is, and we'll do a brief update at that time. The only other one that I do have a question about is finance. We've not, I know Dr. Rock, you do a really good job providing us with the financial updates. How frequently, and I think you and Mr. Roberts told us, how frequently are you guys meeting? I can't remember.
It's usually once a year.
So it was before once a quarter when Mimi and I co-chaired that. But that was a long time ago. I don't know if it's once a year because you keep us updated the way you do. And do we still have community involvement?
Yes. What I've used the committee for is to dig deep into our financial things. So we have two accountants on the finance committee, and it's a smaller committee, but it's made to dig deep into our current events. So like the last one that we had, we reviewed all of the bond financing and how that works. The one before that, we reviewed 5-year forecast, all the revenue streams. And so like I'll try to pick a topic for us to dig in on. But we have, after COVID, we sort of got off the schedule. So we're well overdue to have a meeting, but that's what I've been treating those for, is to have our ambassadors in the district where we could dig into more in depth on things that are in. But most of it though is everything that the board has seen already. Because Mr. Roberts could even tell you the last time when we did the one on financing, he saw every one of those pieces the way I summed it up. And then this is where we build our ambassadors out there that want that more in-depth financial information. So I don't know in my opinion, I don't think a quarterly meeting would be good for that, but maybe once or twice a year. And I would probably structure that around the end of the school year, so then I could present, okay, here's how the school district ended, and then maybe halfway through the school year, like around January or February, and say, here's where we're at halfway through.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work with, in the beginning of my career, I used to have, and this is before I was here, I used to have it built on, whenever the 5-year forecast was due or when major things were due. But then you're sometimes things happen and you're up against the deadline to get that financial document done, and now you're backfilling to meet with the finance committee before it's board approved, and then you're not giving it. It's hard to give notice to the committee, because I always like to give them I know when we schedule this at least a month notice. So we try to pick a day, and usually I'll reach out because it's only a handful of people. So I'll reach out and say, what do you prefer during the day, after the day, and we've rotated. So that's the update on that.
Okay.
So I would propose to meet like twice a year.
Is the board fine with that?
Yep. I'm fine with it.
Oh, Madam Chair, remember I mentioned that our policy states something about an audit?
Yeah, I have it. That's
You
next.
have that on there? Okay.
It's in the packet. I gave everybody.
I'm just letting you
Oh,
So I
no,
have-
I just laid it out tonight. I was going to walk through. That was the next one. Mimi, she gave a call earlier this week about policy 6835, an audit committee. And so she asked if we discuss this. So I'm going to kind of let this one go to you.
So my only point with that is the policy states that we have an audit committee, which is something that we haven't done in years. This is probably pre-Dr. Rock. So is it something that we want to follow because that's what's in our policy, or do we need to do something to remove it from the policy? You said you have a copy of it in here?
Mm-hmm. Everybody's got the same printout.
I don't see that though.
Oh, we actually do have every year we have an exits meeting with the audit committee.
But have you read the policy to see how it reads? And when was the last time we had a meeting with the auditors where they actually came in and gave us an update?
Every year.
They come into the board meeting?
No, they come in, we have an exit audit meeting. It's standard procedure at the end of the audit.
Okay.
It's board president, superintendent, and treasurer. It's part of the audit. We've done it every year that I've been here. We actually have one coming up on the recent audit that just finished.
So I think what's missing then is the rest of the board isn't getting that information. If there's a exit interview, what I'm used to is that was something that was done with the entire board. We would invite the auditors to come to a board meeting and give the information to everybody. So if you're saying that that's what you consider as an audit committee, is yourself, Tracy, and the superintendent, then maybe we need to take a look at this policy and word it the way that we're doing it. But I wasn't aware of that. I know that you would say, hey, we had an audit and there were no findings, and that was pretty much all we would get.
Well, it's
For 2 years, I've sat in with Dr. Rock on those audits.
because you were board president.
Correct.
What it is the board, we meet, board president, superintendent, and treasurer meet with the audit, part of the audit, the exit audit, and then you get, when the report's released, all of the board members get the report. I've never seen in my whole career where unless you were in catastrophic problems,
We did. We used to do it that way.
it might have been.
And that way everybody knew what was going on. I'm big on sharing of information.
So,
and everything.
That was before I came.
So,
That was before I came, because I never met.
Probably.
So,
Right.
so what I'm thinking of, if I'm listening to everybody's conversation, this policy probably needs to be rewritten, or we need to talk about it being rewritten, which I think you just said, to more clearly articulate who sits in on that exit audit, and then how that information is reported back to the board by after that audit is complete, because we do get an email that really clearly walks by, line by line, what the audit findings were or weren't. The whole board gets it. So if you're asking, I don't know, Dr. Rockwell, we have the auditors come to the board meeting. Would you or Mr. You run through that document that the auditors give us upon exit?
Yeah, they actually go through the audit report and the audited financial statements. It's usually about an hour.
Yeah.
So if we were to do it this way, we'd have to call a board meeting, and they would have to
To
tell
just do that. We could do
Yeah,
a
I'd have to
workshop.
ask the auditors if they even do that. I mean, it's their normal. And this is uniform for the state of Ohio. Every school district at the end of their audit, or even every local government, meaning like cities and villages and everything, every local government in the state of Ohio at the end of the audit, the auditors have these forms, and they ask you if you want an exit audit meeting or not. Number one, so you could waive it if you didn't want to have the meeting. We have never waived it. We've always had the meeting because we wanted at a minimum at least one representative of the board and superintendent and treasurer, so we're all at the table together and they present the ending of the audit. So, but this is their normal procedure. I mean, they won't release the audit without either waiving that exit meeting or having the exit meeting. But there was nothing, the auditors don't request having a whole forum of board members.
No, I think we did it. I promise I didn't make this up.
You could have. It was at your discretion.
So that everybody would hear the same information.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like somewhere along the way, laws.
Maybe the law changed.
The laws have changed, and our policy didn't change with it.
I can call Neola and find out if this policy has changed and maybe it hasn't been updated. I don't think that's the case. I think it really is just a matter of preference.
Is all board members getting a summary of those audits?
You get the whole audit report.
Get the whole
Yeah,
report.
I don't think I read
I mean,
them
you
all.
can
I
go
call
in
Dr.
doctor's
Rock
office.
about it.
His office and read it if you want.
I'll be happy to report that we have another clean audit, just so you know.
I just feel that Dr. Rock's report that he brings to us from the audit is sufficient for me. I mean, I think he does an excellent job. If you're telling me that the president and Mr. Jolly is sitting on that committee, that's fine with me. I don't have to sit on it. I don't have to be there. I trust what what Dr. Rock is gonna bring to the board. I trust what our superintendent is gonna bring to the board. If there's a problem with the audit, Dr. Rock is going to tell us that. So the point of all of us being at a meeting for an audit, I just don't see the importance of it.
Well, I think we all should have the summary. I mean, I love the summary. Dr. Rock, you remember I called you about a week over. So, I mean, I like to see summary, but I don't have to have a meeting.
But Mimi, you need to go to that meeting because you want to.
I never know about the meeting
Oh.
to go to it. So I guess that's part of the point.
Oh, okay. Dr. Rock, can you please let Mimi know when there's a meeting with the auditor so she can attend?
I don't
No.
think that's it at all. I think, and I'll let
Well,
Earl
she
speak. We took a look at the policy.
In looking at the documentation that's discussing the committee, one, I look at the adoption date was 2013, so it very well have been changed. It very well may have been changed, but looking down in the body, it says the audit committee will consist of 4 members, and while up to 1 school official may serve on the audit committee, a majority of the members will be persons independent of the board and administration. So it seems like this particular committee would not be us. It would be community members that would be,
Thank you, Earl, for at least reading it. I appreciate that.
right. So this would not be
I mean, I read that.
this would not be us anyway. All right. So I mean, it would. I think that the procedure of Dr. Rock bringing the information to us would satisfy our needs. We wouldn't be on this particular committee, and with it being 10 years old, it might have already been updated. So we probably wouldn't
That's why
do it. So I don't. In looking at it, I don't see the necessity of us having the committee in this format. We might want to adopt something different, but this doesn't seem to serve the purpose for us.
So I said the same thing earlier as well. So Mimi, as a follow-up, will you speak with oh my gosh, I can't remember
Neola.
the names, guys. Joe at Neola to find out the status of this policy, to find out, has it been updated? Did it get missed over? Is it something that other boards don't do, so we can make sure we have the most updated version?
You're right. This is the one that goes back in history to where, back in history for school districts, the finance and audit committee used to be the same thing, and it would be community members, and they would participate in the audit process.
Right.
So we may want to do away with it.
Or either just see if there's an updated one.
Right.
Yeah, so find out, and we'll go from there. So if you can give us an update, I'll make sure there's a policy update on the 222 board meeting. Is there anything else on policy?
No.
No, I'm good.
So we will make sure that as we're meeting, we will, if there's notes that are taken, we will make sure those are pushed out and shared with the board. And then we will make sure that the board update section will stay on our regular meetings so that the board members can provide brief updates on what's going on with the various committees that they serve on. All right. Next on the agenda was item 4.2. I don't think we don't have to belabor this topic. I did provide a copy of our policy 0171.3 revolving community relations. We do need to start getting back to our the communities that we serve, those meetings. So I provided copies of Warrensville Heights school board meetings, the dates and times of the Village of North Randall, as well as the dates and times of the Village of Highland Hills meetings, so we can start getting to at least one of those meetings a month to make sure we're there to provide if they ask. Because I know Mayor Smith will ask for updates in North Randall if we're there. I honestly haven't been to a Highland Hills council meeting in a really long time. I'm not sure if they ask for updates there. But we do need to start getting back out and getting back in the community as COVID restrictions are beginning to lift.
What are you proposing that we all
Once a
go
month.
to every?
No,
No,
no. There's no way we can't go to all. I'm
Right.
asking us to talk as a board and just say, hey, I'm going to go, 2 of us are going to go to here. A lot of us, typically, the 3 of us, Ray, Earl, and I, are typically at Warrensville as community members. I'm just saying we've got to get back out there. So, go ahead.
What is he saying?
He's asking about foreign liaisons. I think that is being very prescriptive. I think to get started, we used to go to the meetings with great regularity,
We did.
and I'm just asking for us to get back to doing that.
Why don't we just at least say that we'll commit to going to a certain number every year? You know, I mean, it's January, it's the beginning of the year. Something as simple as that.
yeah, but why can't we agree with like what Earl was saying that, okay, let me say that I will attend Highland Heights. I'll go to Highland Heights.
So you gonna go to Highland Hills?
Hill.
This is Highland Heights on here.
It's Hill.
It's Hills.
Well, they got it wrong on here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's Hill.
Highland
usually my
Hill.
mistake.
Because Highland Hills is a big deal.
No doubt about it.
That's right. Highland Hills. That's all.
No,
That's
I'm
their
going.
school.
Well, then I'm gonna go to Northwest. It's not a big deal.
Oh, but we do need to go.
So you going to Warrensville?
I can't say when I'm going.
And that's the thing. I don't want anybody to say I'm gonna go
Right.
on this date.
Okay.
I'm just asking us
No,
So we just start.
But I'm
till
not.
we start going.
Know
Right.
these dates and
Know these
attend when we
dates and
can.
say I'm gonna go this
Right.
month here.
But okay, and I understand what the community is saying, but I'm also saying if you're not obligated, that you might attend Warrensville more so than Highland Hill, or do you just want to leave it open for you?
I just want to leave it open.
Okay.
Because I really can't.
I want to
say-
leave it open for everybody because I go to all of them. I just
Okay.
haven't been to Highland Hills in a long time
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna start going to Highland Hill.
because I personally don't want to be restricted to say I'm only going to come to Warrensville.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that either.
Yeah, so I'm just saying I'd like to leave it open. I'm just asking the board to be more open and working to try to get back out to the meetings.
I'll take put these all on my phone calendar.
All right.
I did the same. All right, so that's all I wanted to bring up there. The big thing on the agenda, so we can keep moving, so we can kind of bring the meeting to an end. The big thing on the agenda that's really important is Section 5 for the conference. We talked to the folks at OSBA, and on your end, what I provided is a copy of an outline of potentially the presentation that we can present to OSBA, because we've got to get this uploaded to their portal so we can get approved to do a board presentation on the work that we've done here in our district to move us along. And I never looked at the thing, so I don't know when we have to finish this by, but I wanted to go through as a board and look at, we just have to give them an outline. And then once they say yay or nay to the outline, then we come back in and we fill the body out.
So that's what that is.
That's what this is. This is just an outline.
Okay.
So we would have our,
It's a good outline.
thank you. I do know how to do stuff.
Okay. That's a good
I do
outline.
this and work on this. So what I wanted to do is just walk through it. We'd open up to provide, we're Warrensville, our demographics, our board demographic and composition, keys to a successful board. We would list some of those. We would talk about the qualities or characteristics of a highly effective school board. How did we get to where we are today? And that's where we would talk about our board training and the work that we did with Deborah Keys Wright in the series of sessions that we had. Again, these are just the high level topics.
Chair. I'm just going to throw something out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how receptive they're going to be to us giving Deborah Keys the credit. We can put it together. You know where I'm going with this. I just want to throw that out there.
But if that's what
But
we
here's
did,
the deal: they know because Cheryl Ryan has asked me in detail about the training, and I just told her the book. I would not give details. This is the book that we use. We have a total of 4 sessions. These are the topics pre-book. These are the topics from this book, and that's all I'll give her. And honestly, I don't know that we need to go into detail about what Deborah gave. We would just be honest and forthright in the fact this is where we sought our board training. I would never throw shade at OSBA. This is what worked for us, and they're selling the book now. Right now, I really just want us to walk through the main topics to see, are these the topics we want to cover? Then we would go into understanding our roles and responsibilities, talk through what we did to get to a governance mindset, the impacts that we've experienced in the district, functioning under the impacts of board governance. And then I didn't know if there was anything else, Mr. Jolly, that we want to add, because this is where we need employee impact, cultural impact, student impact, community impact. But are these the main topics that we want to cover off on and send in an outline to
I think so.
OSBA?
Looking for. I mean, we can tweak it as we need to.
We got to build it out.
Yeah,
it's got to be built out.
I think this gets it.
Yes.
So is this everything you guys want to make sure at a high level we want to cover?
At a high level, yeah. If it's just a high level you're asking, yeah. How do you foresee us doing the presentation? Working together as a team, or what's the plan?
Can we just get this submitted tonight? I don't know. We have to talk about it. We can talk about it in another. I'm not being facetious. I'm not being nasty. I just want to get this because we got to get this submitted. We're going to have a work session to build this out. One person can't build this. All I'm asking is, can we just talk about it on another night?
To know what the plan is.
Yes, Mitchell, because I presented before for OSBA with board members, and they just want your
What is
topic.
that?
Yeah, they just
a brief. I think it's real brief.
because I gave them that,
Yep.
and then she pushed back and said, "Well, we can't do BLI." And
That's great.
there was a whole lot
Yep.
of so.
They just want the topic, and then you apply, and then after that, then there's forms, and then there's deadlines for to give them the presentation. You got plenty of time to work on it. If I could just suggest one slide though,
Yes,
you should
please.
put one that says the successes of effective board governance. And I know I can give you quite a few, and Mr. Jolly can, but I know we could give you a nice long list. But I really think as witnessing your expertise as boardmanship and board governance, I would be glad to add items there for the successes, because these are your colleagues need to see the results.
So should we call that's what I'm trying to get to tonight. What are the top level bullets need to be included? So should we call the impacts of board governance the successes, or do both slides?
Maybe do both.
Okay.
Throw it all in
Impacts, who it impacts, and then the other ones are successes.
Okay.
And it's just written right there.
Successes of
Strategic
Warrenville
finance of buildings.
Board of
607 to 298. Those are facts.
Okay. Because that's what I want to do. I want to build the map of what we've done to get where we are, and we've got the data to back it up.
Sorry to interject.
No, that's fine. This is for all of us. We are the board, and you guys are part of it. So if this is fine for the first submission, we'll get it submitted, and then we'll come back, and once we find out how it's going to work, then we will discuss how we're going to work together to build it out. Because it's got to be a group effort.
I think the time slot when I did it too was 45 minutes. Yeah,
When
whatever,
does that
you
have
could work
to be?
that out down the road.
I don't know. I got to look.
It's 45 minutes.
It's just, I think the website just said that they were starting taking submissions in January.
So they didn't give a
okay.
date to get them submitted by.
Oh, they didn't give us a deadline.
Alrighty. We're correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
No correspondence.
Mr. Jolly, I know we don't have it on here. Any announcements?
I think we just announced that Miss Dean's funeral is on, her wake is on Friday from 4 to 8 at the Early Childhood Center.
Oh, okay.
And then her funeral is Saturday. The wake is from 10 to 11. Funeral starts at 11 o'clock at the Early Childhood Center also. And then there'll be a wake, or not a wake, but a repast in the high school cafeteria. Aldersgate Church is partnering with the district on the repast.
On the repast?
And our students will be participating in the funeral. Our band, we have a singer, Terrence Davis will be singing, and we also, our students are promised will be helping us ushers in the at the funeral also. So it's going to be a lot of students involved in it.
Good.
Mr. Johnson, so to recap what you just said, the viewing Friday 4 to 8 at the Early Childhood Development Center.
Yes.
Wake 10 o'clock Saturday morning. Funeral 11 o'clock Saturday.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
That shall be entered into Evergreen Cemetery.
Is that, and
I don't know if it-
is that document that you passed by email and it's been on social media, is that on the website as well?
I believe it is on the front of the website.
All right, well, if there's nothing else, if I can please have someone make a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
Madam Chair, I'd like to adjourn tonight's meeting.
May I have a second?
Second.
Meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening, everybody.